So you just got your license and you're wondering, how on planet Earth am I going to succeed as a real estate agent? Because there's just so many different directions to go. Let's dive into the details, because after this video, you're going to feel so prepared. You're going to be able to just breathe again. So what's up, everybody? My name is Henry Eisenstein, and I've been a part of over $450 million worth of real estate transactions. I'm only 28 years old. And in this video, again, we're going to be talking about how to succeed as a brand new real estate agent. So the first thing I want to talk about more than anything else is the biggest complaint that I get from real estate agents, typically after their first 6 or 12 months in the business, is that, I'm gonna say this verbatim, because I hear this all the time, I just don't have enough opportunities, I'm not making any money, I just don't know why. I'm gonna solve that problem for you. That solution is only solved in one simple solution: generating leads. And often what happens is brand new real estate agents do not focus on lead generation more than anything else, because this is truly the only thing that matters. And yes, of course, you have you have a massive learning curve in this industry. However, if you took two individuals, person A, person B, and person A all day long, 24/7, 365, or as often as they possibly could, just spent their time on the phone, whether it was cold calling or in front of a client at an open house, they were out networking 24/7, 365, or they were just spending time generating leads or face-to-face with a client, like all their time, and they tracked every single minute of it, and they spent as much time as absolutely possible generating leads. And then person B, what they did was that they spent a couple hours a week on prospecting for leads, and then the rest of it they spent it on building business cards and a website and their social media, everything possible that, like, yes, that needs to be done, but isn't most important. Person A is gonna knock person B out of the freaking park. Yes, lead generation is super important, and of course this is gonna lead to you eventually doing deals. But point number two that I want to stress to all of you is that it takes time to do business in the real estate world. I didn't close my first transaction until the 11th month in the business. It took me 11 months, guys. My first 11 months in the business, right? Or first, call it 10 and a half months or so in the business. I didn't earn a single dollar as a real estate agent, okay? It is a very, very long-term minded business, okay? So what I want to stress to you guys is that just because you're generating a lot of these opportunities doesn't mean that you're going to have all these opportunities transact today. You're not going to call somebody up and you're going to be like, "Hey John, it's Henry with so-and-so company, just curious if you're considering selling your property." They're going to be like, "Henry, thank God you called me, because I've been dying to sell my home and I've been waiting for a real estate agent like you to call me. I want to list my home today." No. What's most likely going to happen is you're going to speak to somebody and they're going to be like, "Henry, you're the 15th person to call me," or "Henry, I get these calls all the time. We're considering selling. I don't know if this is the right time of year. We're considering it. Maybe, just maybe, possibly in the future." What happens most of the time is that someone is interested, especially when you get a lead, right? You're going to get a lead, and that's what it's going to sound like, right? They're somewhat interested. They might look to do something in the next 90 days, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and it's up to you to continue to follow up with them and provide value in the meantime and build rapport and relationship in the meantime, so that when they are ready, they come to you. That is the game. The most important thing, which is part of number two here, is it is all about consistency. Two of you guys can be prospecting. Person A does a consistent, 100 phone calls a day, and person B does 1,000 phone calls one time a month. What's gonna happen is that person A is gonna do better over time than person B because of the consistency factor. Just pay attention to the fact that a large majority of the leads you're gonna get, right? I was just talking to an agent recently, and we talked about, he's really struggling in the first couple months of his career. What we found out was the amount of leads that he was generating, the amount of opportunities he was generating, were two things. Number one, not enough of what he possibly could do, right? Because he wasn't spending 100% of his time on generating new leads, okay? And the way he was going about it wasn't the most effective, which is, by the way, very common for brand new real estate agents, because you don't know, and that's okay, right? Because there's a million videos out there from, gurus all over who try to tell you one way is better than the other. I'm just telling you to get on the phones to some capacity. Get on the phone and prospect. I don't care how you do it, but get on the phone and prospect. But I am saying the consistency factor of now generating those leads, and then number three here is incredibly important, is then following up with those leads. So you got the generation of the leads, consistently generating leads, right, or opportunities. You can change the word leads to opportunities, right? Opportunity for relationship, or opportunity for a lead to sell their property or buy a property, right? An opportunity. Generate the opportunities, be consistent with the way that you generate opportunities. And number three is follow up with those individuals once you've called them the first time. Because if you don't follow up with somebody, they're not gonna most likely be ready to do something today. It's going to be a long-term plan, which is why longevity, people who've been in the business a long time typically make more money than people who've been in a shorter period of time, because that follow-up process takes place. That's what happens over time. First off, find the opportunities, consistently generating those opportunities, and then following up with those opportunities over time so that you can convert them into actual transactional dollars into your bank account. Number 4, don't follow the masses. So what happens is majority of the most real estate agents who join the business, they model their business after one of a few people, the general manager of the office or the person who recruited them into the business. And what happens is that person who recruited you in the business most of the time is not always the most productive realtor. That person often doesn't make the most money, right? Like just because the person we happen to meet who brings us into the business might not be the most successful person in the office. So what happens is that you model this person because you happen to maybe know them. This is what happened to me, by the way. Clear example. The first person I ended up knowing in the real estate business who brought me in under her wing, she wasn't the most successful real estate agent around. And she was doing $20 million a year in business. She was making a few $100,000 a year in sales, but she wasn't generating leads. She had a book of business that she was just cultivating and working. This person had been in the business for 20 years. And she was very focused on very specific niche in the industry. She specifically was focused on foreclosures. So she did 100 transactions a year at a very low price point. And she had connections with the banks where they were giving her these assets to manage, and then she would end up selling them for the bank. So what I'm trying to say is that I followed in the footsteps of my mentor. She never generated any leads. She generated relationships that were basically handed to her from her boss. When I came into the business, I didn't do any lead generation. I just followed my mentor. And what ended up happening was that over the first 10 months, like I've talked about, the reason why I didn't make any money because I didn't lead generate until literally like the 7th, 8th, 9th month of the business. And then I ended up closing a deal in the 10th or 11th month of my first year, right? And then the 12th month I closed a deal. And then the 13th, 14th, 15th month I closed a deal, right? Because I started lead generating and noticing that, wait a second, the way I generate business is actually from being on the phones. Or you follow your office manager who's a hourly or salaried employee who doesn't generate business. And all they do is they walk around the office smiling and saying, hey everybody, do you need anything? Hey, do you need anything? Checking their emails and not doing any work. They're not generating leads. They're an office manager, right? It's not their job to generate leads. So you just have to be careful with who you're modeling. Do not duplicate from the masses. Duplicate the people who are most successful. A lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, I want to focus on luxury. Brand new realtor, and they're like, I want to focus on luxury homes. And you know what's interesting is that a lot of people poo-poo that, okay? They say, don't do that. That's stupid. You got to start at the lower price points. And what I am here to say to you is that I would not focus on the highest, most luxury price points in your market. I would recommend that you start just below those super luxury price points and you can start prospecting those, right? I'll give you an example. Where I live in New Jersey, super luxury is 5 to 10 million roughly. Okay, so that's super luxury in my area. What I would recommend and have recommended to people in my area is that they focus on properties that are between 800,000 and 2 million. Because that market is very consistent and moves very quickly. So you can do a lot of volume in those areas. Because the 5 million plus, super luxury markets, there's not a lot of volume that sells, right? There's only so many sales and transactions every year. But there's a ton of transactions in the 800,000 to 2 million range in my area. Any person can come in and take a little piece of that market share. Next couple points might surprise you, but again, the economy is very, very different. This is time for serious conversations, okay? But obviously if you're watching this video and you weren't in the industry in 2008, you might not actually understand how bad it got in 2008. I mean, literally people lost their homes. People completely lost their jobs. Like there was no transactions happening. And I wouldn't say zero like there was in COVID for a brief moment, but there's very little. What I want to share with you though is in this economy, you might have to make some tough decisions, which can come down to one of a few things. Number one, when you get in this industry, you can be a salaried employee. There are salaried jobs in the real estate industry as salaried showing agents, salaried transaction coordinators, and then salaried lead agents from like a Zillow or a Redfin.com, right? So I'm not telling you that is the best course of action. However, I am telling you that there are other options. And again, I'm not telling you to get a salary job if you don't want to do that, but I am saying is that there's several of you listening who definitely would do much better working for someone else, because what happens that people don't realize a lot, the biggest misconception in the real estate industry, what happens is that if you were previously an employee, prior to getting your real estate license, okay? You are not an employee anymore. You do not have a boss, which is a gift and a curse to people, because some people cannot be their own boss and actually hold themselves accountable each and every single day. By getting into this industry from employee to employee, you actually might do better, and that's okay. And you might do better in a multitude of reasons. Number one, you have someone telling you what to do. You have someone who's giving you a paycheck. It might not be a huge paycheck, but you have a paycheck, right? And you get smaller bonuses on deals. So it allows you to just think differently for a second. It's not just about making big commissions in this industry. Because is it possible? Of course. Is it super common? No, it's not. Because listen, just because you see, $10 or $15 or $20,000 checks, or on $1 million listing in New York, you see $300,000 checks, that is not commonplace. It's really not common, right? Average commissions across the country are between $7,000 and $10,000, and that's before broker splits and any other costs involved. And you have to do that consistently, and that takes time. So this is why I'm saying having a salaried position might actually not be a bad thing for some of you. Also, another option for you that is possibly looking to do this where you want some income in the meantime, I'd recommend that some of you also do this part-time. I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, hey, a lot of these people are like either bartenders or in the restaurant business or very similar types of jobs previously, and they end up getting their real estate license. I'm like, listen, just change your hours, right? Work from 5 to midnight, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, like keep making the money that you're making. Just don't work a 9 to 5 anymore. So between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., you can be taking all that time and generating leads and generating opportunities like we've talked about in the beginning of this video. It's taking those opportunities and just shift the way you think, right? You don't have to be 100% full-time. A lot of people are part-time in this business. I know several people who are part-time. They're either a firefighter, teachers, everything, you name it, right? Like I knew a teacher who was doing 60 transactions a year. Teacher and doing 60 transactions plus a year. I mean, making great money, right? A few $100,000 a year. Part-time in the real estate business. I mean, obviously you worked basically 2 full-time jobs, but you get my point. So you can do this part-time, and it's okay, especially in this time in the economy, to do this part-time. It is okay, but just know most people are going to get part-time results. And part-time results can actually be fairly decent if your price points are decent. Because if you're prospecting in the right price points like we talked about, and your average commission check is going to be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per check, and you're taking home 50% or 75% or 80% or whatever it is at the brokerage you're at, that is going to allow you to basically work part-time and make full-time income. Last thing I am going to say, and again, this is very, very important for you guys to pay attention to, is the brokerage that you are at matters. I want you to know that I don't care what brokerage you're at, okay? You can make money in legitimately every company. I can go to any brokerage on the face of this planet and I can still make money there. But what I want to tell you though, very clearly, is that the commission split that they're offering you does matter. There are brokerages right now where if you're not, just listen to me, if you're not making at least 80% in commissions with some type of cap, you're at the wrong brokerage. Because I know there are some people that I've been speaking to, they're like, oh yeah, I'm at a brokerage X, Y, and Z, and I make 50-50. Do you understand that every dollar in commission that you don't negotiate for yourself is just that much harder you have to work in order to make the same amount of money you could be making somewhere else? And they're all the freaking same. I'm just gonna be honest with you. For the most part, within about 90+%, they are all the freaking same. Every brokerage is the exact same. I don't care if it's EXP, Compass, Keller Williams, Remax, every single freaking company, period, is all the freaking same. They're all identical with maybe a 3 to 10% difference. And that 3 to 10%, a large majority of that, 80% of that difference is the commission splits. That's it, right? And then the other few percentage points are software and the assistant and this, whatever. Who cares? Like the software, the technology, the little added little teeny benefits that are really meaningless for the most part. But a large majority of the differences is the commission splits. Everything else is almost identical. So I want you to know that if you're not making at least 80% at your current brokerage, you need to reach out to me ASAP because you are leaving money on the table. You're leaving so much money on the table by being where you're at, and you need to be making sure you make an adjustment because, as an example, if you're at 80% in commission splits and you make a gross $100,000 a year in commissions, that means you're gonna make 80 grand. You have something called a cap. You actually could be making more money than the 80,000 because you might have a smaller cap than 20,000 bucks as an example. But if you have a commission split of 50-50 on 100,000 in commissions, you're making 50 grand versus the 80 grand. That's $30,000 or 60% in difference of income. Changed my freaking life to find all this stuff out. And now we're like, I don't have to do as much work as I did before to make more money. I mean, mind-blowing. I mean, that's actually possible if you're at the right brokerage. Anyways, we went through a lot of stuff. I would rewatch this one over and over again, especially if you're a brand new agent. And if you need any support in any way, shape, or form, keep watching our free content or schedule a call down with us down below. I appreciate you so much. If you're still watching this video, that means to me that you're a committed real estate agent and you're looking to take your life and business to the next level. I'm just curious. Why have you yet to schedule your free, no obligation coaching consultation? All you have to do is simply go in the description down below, and people are telling me this call has been the most unbelievable, the most powerful call they've had in their entire career. And here's just a few of the individuals who have taken full advantage of this call. And my mission is to support as many realtors as possible, build a 6- and 7-figure net income business so that they don't have to rely on this industry anymore for their everyday income. If you're a committed realtor, which I can seem like you are, all you have to simply do to take full advantage of this free coaching consultation is to go in the description down below and schedule your free call now.